I'm like, yo, to me, like I was interrupting him.
See what I'm talking?
That was the point. Absolutely. All right. So, great conversations there. How about, first of all, thank you to our roundtable facilitators, right? Another amazing conversations. I heard Joe over here with some amazing conversations and knowledge. We brought about the lived experience of what it was like to be on this journey. I heard Angelita covering a lot of great topics, are those brass tacks things that nobody ever wants to deal with until it's way too late. Or you've already gone and like completely pitched 100 people and didn't know what you were doing and what you think when you did it, right? Exactly. I heard Adrian over here talking again, brass tacks. Like the reality of this is what you need to think about if you're going to go on this journey. And we hope that everybody wants to continue on this journey, continue going on this journey. I heard Stanley over here talking about ways to think about the different pivots that we need to make and like really filling the need. I think I heard Adrian talk about that as well, filling the need, filling needs. This is the thing about entrepreneurialism, right? Something that came up in the last few conversations we had, the last couple workshops, was the difference between I want to do this versus this is what's needed, right? So I just want to throw this out there again because it's something as entrepreneurs we get stuck in is we got this idea, this vision. Adrian talks about this a lot, right? The vision of how we want to be in the space. But then once you have that vision of how you want to be in the space, you've got to understand that you got to be in a space in a way that works for the people that you're trying to sell stuff to, right? Whatever, it's a service or a product or whatever it is. So the more conversations you have, the better. Market test that shit. Get out there and talk to people. Like, don't feel like you have to wait until something's perfect until you can share what it is that you're working on, right? End of the day, I think the way you put it was like most people are too damn busy on their own damn stuff. They're not about to steal your idea that they meet you with and talk to you while they're talking to 100 other people that day, right? And even if they take the idea, guess what? Somebody has to implement that. And implementation where entrepreneurs succeed. Ideas at the end of the day are worth almost nothing. It's about taking the idea, finding the right team, and implementing those ideas and structure and systems and market testing and everything else it takes to the point that you can actually have a functional business, right? Activation, exactly. So what we're going to do right now, this comes back again to the atomic habits. This is an atomic habit I definitely want to encourage everybody to do, is to write stuff down when you're at these events. A lot of times, so the things we're going to have right down, that we're going to have you write down, is 3 takeaways. All right, write down 3 takeaways from today so far, right? Conversations you've had, things you've heard people say, write down 3 takeaways. Included in those 3 takeaways, there needs to be at least one action item. Okay, it can be multiple action items, but at least one of those 3 takeaways has to be an action item, something you have to do as a result of the conversation that's going on today. And then the last thing you're going to do, well, not the last thing, the next thing you're going to do is your 1 month SMART goal. All right, does everybody know what a SMART goal is? I have a lot of yeses. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely. Lots of memes on the internet about this. I highly recommend get used to what SMART goals are. They really help make it a lot more likely to get that goal done. So write down your 1 month SMART goal that came out of the conversation today, along with your 3 takeaways, including an action item. And you also are going to write down the name of the person that you're going to have hold you accountable. So you're going to let them know after today or today that you're going to do this 1 month goal. And then now, guess what you're going to do? You're going to check in with that person. All right. Now, again, another atomic habit. If you don't already have accountability buddies, accountability partners, make sure you get them. Do regular calls, right? And it's great when it's a friend. It's great when it's a colleague, right? If it is a friend or a colleague or family member, they have to also be serious about holding you accountable, right? You can't just share with somebody that doesn't really care about the vision or is going to give you shit when you didn't get it done in the wrong way, right? Or he's going to be like, oh, that's cool, no worries, so what you need to do, right? You need somebody that's on the same wavelength that you are about trying to improve themselves, improve their lives. And it's not always your friends and family at the end of the day, right? Sometimes your friends and family or your friends and family are supporting in other ways. You need to make sure you have your accountability plans. So, all right, you got three takeaways, an action item, a SMART goal, and then the person holding you accountable. So go ahead and take a few minutes, write that down. Please respect the silence of the room. When you're done, just look up, and then we'll get started. All right.
So consider making that your 1 week. This is Ken.
I would add that instead of changing it. So have your 1 month goal and add a 1 week.
That's all right. I mean,
You're done.
I'm done.
All right, looks like most people are pretty ready. So, all right. Everybody ready? Everybody feel ready? Like, you got that written down? Yeah. Around the room. Okay, cool. So at this point in time, this is time for sharing. Right now, we're gonna go ahead and share around the room. I think this is, to me, this is one of my favorite parts, and I really want to encourage you. You know, now we're not getting to everybody, but even if you don't share today, share this as soon as you're leaving. Share it with other folks before you leave. Share with these more is speaking into existence, right? I'm a big believer on, again, these atomic habits and really taking this mindset and making sure you got the right mindset if you're on this journey. These are the things you do. Speak these things into existence, right? So with that said, who wants to share? Who wants to go first? Share anything that you want. You don't have to share the whole thing. You can share whatever you want. Yes. That was a question, right?
The first question. I mean, what we came up with our technically, so we need a lawyer, accountant, and need to develop this plan, and not yet. And need to network, reach out to people. So,
Beautiful. So first of all, thanks for sharing. And so now that you know those things, I'm just going to encourage you to put that SMART goal aspect on there. Say, 1 week from now, I will call 3 different lawyers to. There you go. All right. Perfect.
Research lawyer.
Awesome. Beautiful. There you go. So get the whole team right there.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And Adrian, you're the one that was, you've been on multiple steps in the store. And the thing you said multiple times that folks need to understand when they leave here today, it needs to be on getting their accountant and their lawyer. So first person sharing, that message got through to, they're going to be connecting with their accountants and their lawyers and researching and finding them. So it works.
just know who you're gonna take something to when you get it, because when you get it, it's gonna be like it's hot.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to do something yesterday. That's not what you're gonna have to add the pressure of finding that.
Exactly. And, this is where I want to make the plug for all these organizations up here, including Georgia Cannabis Industry Alliance. Teresa mentioned earlier, she knows a bunch of lawyers in the area that work in this field. So this is a way that I'm a huge fan of plugging into organizations. Gary mentioned Inform earlier, right? It's like plug into the organizations because these organizations have lots of resources, lots of network, and are almost always happy to refer you out to anybody in the network and then still do your due diligence because one, organizations, we can't always vet and make sure everybody is not a shark or predatory, right? But then even if that's the case, and this somebody I know is solid, they might not be the right fit for you. And especially when it comes to lawyers and accountants, you need to be talking with them, questioning them, and asking them all kinds of things to make sure they are the right fit for you, that it's somebody you can work with. And I recognize you here.
Matt Johnson.
That's Matt Johnson. That's it. I know this guy. Matt Johnson. Thanks for being here, man. Awesome. Another person, as I mentioned earlier, that when it comes to volunteering time, volunteering knowledge, that's always answers the bell. So, just again, when we talk about these organizations, I'm going to ask you guys to stop the side conversation rather than distracting. So, when we look at these organizations and all the volunteerism and we tap in, look for the folks that are doing that kind of stuff. Look for folks that are engaging in these conversations, hitting a Saturday, flying across the country, traveling all over the place to make sure that they're giving the information and knowledge. Adrian's point earlier, not just because they're doing booths and trying to get you to sign up with them, because they're generally interested in making sure we have educational conversations, right? That's a good sign that that's the way that you can work, right? All right, so that was off of your takeaway. Appreciate you sharing that. Let's get another one here. Christina.
So my first takeaway is that I need to network more with folks who are in the cannabis industry. So my action item is to follow the 3 folks from here and 3 folks that from the place I was at yesterday. And just email, talk, lunch, or the show, so whatever you want to go. Just invite me. I'll show it. I really will.
Also go to FRMM United.
Say again.
FRMMUnited.org.
Okay.
There's a premium membership.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Yeah. Just one.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, do you guys know?
Yeah, I got 3.
Yeah.
So, I need to protect my brand, and so I need to walk away and find a lawyer. So I'll be more specific, like y'all. Actually, talking to Shorty over here, Andy. And then I took my this that I actually have a really clear vision for my entry point, and I have some really great goals, but I want to be more specific about those. So really, my goal in that is to look at other people who are doing the same thing I want to do and see how they're doing it.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. We got talk over, so we're doing good. We're doing good. And again, with the 14th thing, Hemp United, another MCBA does. I've been doing with Adrian and some others for a couple years now, almost 3 years now. We do a weekly Thursday call. It's every Thursday. Did you put on those calls, maybe? No, you haven't on here. But we do a weekly Thursday call. It's at 2 p.m. Eastern every single Thursday. And we have guest speakers that do roundtable conversations, but we also have accountability sessions and circles where we literally speak out our goals and talk them out with each other and share them about progress as well as restating goals. So another thing to put with it if anybody's interested. So, you get the emails afterwards to see how to plug it in and so on and so forth. So don't worry about it. Everybody here that signed in, that's on the list, that registered, we'll get follow-up. All right, who's next? Somebody over here. Let's go there first, and we'll move over to your Deirdre, right? So then you're somebody writes. All right. So, all right, so we're gonna go with Eric first. Eric, what you got?
I have a really good book on genetics, research with politics, and policy,
Awesome. Excellent. I appreciate that. Again, all these organizations have great resources if you want to know more about different rules, different regulations. We have webinars about rescheduling, all these different types of things. If you can't find stuff, reach out to them, just see what we can find. So yeah. You're willing to be active and engaged. We have resources. Absolutely.
As far as learning goes, projectcbd.org. If you want to learn about the actual plant, what it does, terpene, word terpene doesn't mean anything to you, just go there. But yeah, you have to continually keep on learning. There's several different tracks. The actual track of learning about the plant, you need to learn about the industry, you need to learn about the particular business you want to go. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah, like you compare.
You, in your case, I find the position who actually knows cannabis.
And so, the organization, what is it?
Doctors, cannabis regulation.
Doctors for Regulation 20, and then ATAP, I think they stand for the
Association Cannabis Health Equity.
Thank you. Association for Cannabis Health Equity Movement. Lots of great doctors and nurses are part of that organization. They put out a lot of information there too.
See,
Cannabis Association, big one, the whole allowing it to justice.
Right.
Yeah, there's a bar association too. So that's a little, I look for.
Exactly. All these great organizations that now didn't exist 5 years ago. And so now these great folks have put together these groups. And, you know, we do things here and there, but I would tell you that most of the organizations are made up of top-notch people. The leaders are all amazing people, and they've really been together in great circles and really bring the right people. So you still have to do you're on. You still have to do vetting in yourself. You don't want to just trust that, oh, somebody's part of the association. Well, yeah, but you know, sometimes the barrier is deep, right? But generally speaking, people that find themselves in these associations, get involved and volunteer their time, so on and so forth, are generally going to be people that are really engaging and talk with more kids. So just my 2 cents. All right, we got time for a person. Ms. Brian.
Okay, well, y'all still so my takeaways are to drill down to my goal, what I actually want to do. This money as far as my infrastructure and my gather resources and research. My SMART goal is to get my farm registered, get license from the NRCS, and also develop my business plan. My accountability partner is right on that screen.
Nice. I'm looking forward to hearing about the progress. That's great. You have a game plan there. Exit strategy thing, you know, how you want things to end up. Never, to be honest, first things you do. If you talk to a lawyer, a lot of good lawyers, that's one of the first things you need to figure out. Especially if it's your best friend or your sister or your brother, your cousin that you're in business with. All right. So yeah. Awesome. All right, let's move on. One more. Who we got? Let's do one more. Who we got?
None of it. So my 3 takeaways.
Maryland, right?
Maryland.
All right.
I'm a nurse. Nurses Network, the American Cannabis Nurses Association, ACNA, and it's the ANA who did, the American Nurses Association, who determined last month that cannabis nursing is a specialty within nursing. So this is an open door to move through, and that's what I'm going to do as a nurse. My takeaways are to talk to Joe's business guy.
Consultant.
Adrian told me about I want to do education, go find companies that do that issue CEUs. Because I have a physician, Dr. Felicity Dawson, who I work with, and myself. So that's a really good idea. And then also I went right to Teresa because she knows nurses in North Georgia, and I want to make sure that we're all on the page and doing something together. So I actually, to write the email.
Do you think there's some policies now dispense acting with that angle?
I'm pleased that pharmacies are able to dispense, and it's biological sciences are the only ones that are using into the pharmacy too.
Sure.
They'll allow rural access, but if no rural communities knows anything about cannabis, how to use it, how to work it, and how to incorporate it into
So is
their
that
life.
nurses to be?
nurses should be in dispensaries, nurses should be in pharmacies, nurses are on call one, that.
You can TikTok.
I know.
Thank you.
I think you just got one.
Drone nuggets. And pick it up.
Awesome.
So you know.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, everybody. How about a round of applause for everybody taking part? So in a minute here, we're going to switch gears and do a panel discussion to close things out today. Before we do that, we're going to do our group photo because I love doing the group photos at all these events. I think it's, we are, I always say, I realize not, I correct myself, we are historic. We are creating everything we do with cannabis right now, regardless of state, but especially in a state like Georgia, is historic. And so we're all taking part in history. We got to make sure we keep records of that. So everybody come up here, we'll take a group photo, and then we'll go back to the panel discussion. Sorry about that. You know, we're gonna have to get a lot more than this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll.
Yeah. You want to be in it? Everybody fit? Oh. My phone's not working right now. Oh, there we go.
Thank you, Yolanda.
Thank
Oh, we love. You're back.
I'm sorry.
Stretch.
Let's see, can y'all go back?
Yeah.
Oh!
Everybody can stay over there on this way. Then she can stand over there. Get it right here.
Oh,
You know, that's all right. Yeah.
Over there.
Yeah. You got-
Yeah, but I did get a full picture on my camera.
Here, I got that wide angle lens if you want.
I'll
Go back.
Did I change? I clicked something. Oh. Three, two, one.
Cheese.
All right.
All right, so we're get set up for the Zoom, for the, well, we're actually Zoom, but for the, and,
Mike.
All right, so.
excuse me, guys, I need to put this on here.
Put one back.
Let's talk.
I just. That's your mate. Okay?
All right, how are we going? You good? All right, so before I end this off, we have Stanley second here is going to be moderating the panel. I do want to get a couple context. So these panels, this is now, as I think I mentioned earlier, this is stop number 9 out of 10 on the equity workshop tour. And so this specific stop on the tour, we do not have anybody from a regulatory agency. I did speak with Andrew Burnage, I believe his name. Andrew Burnage. And we are going to have dialogue following up after this. So some of the things that come up today, for example, the questions that we can pose in that dialogue. We've been developing, when I say we, I mean all of the partners that I mentioned earlier, MCBA and Form Justice. We've been developing a solid relationship with Canada, the Cannabis Regulators Association. This is an organization you should be very well aware of, in my opinion, and because they are made up of all the regulators from all over the country. So we don't have anybody from a regulatory this specific panel, but we have had that at a lot of the other, I'd say 7 out of the 13, I believe we had a regulator. And one of them, it was a regulator, the Office of Social Equity, which still is a state position. So the point being is that with these conversations, what we're going to do is really just have dialogue, really further and foster wellness ecosystem, which does include governmental agencies. We can't that they don't matter in this equation. They absolutely do. And having a relationship with them and talking with them and conversing and collaborating is something that we need to be fostering at the end of the day, in my opinion. So that's why we keep panels together like this. So this one's going to be a little different, but you'll get some great updates from different states around the country. We got that here. So at this point, I'm going to head off to Stanley here. We'll be moderating, and I'm going to try and take more of a sitting on the panel. So there we go.
Well,
Awesome.
Again, thank you all for still hanging out with us. And panels are very important. As far as my advocacy, my education, and industry, I have learned my most valuable information that can be used to create action through panel discussions, such as this one. Some of you may be familiar with the organization known as DPA. It stands for Drug Policy Alliance. They had their semi-annual drug conference here, I think, in 2016 or 17. And I learned more about drugs in 4 days than I had in 30 years of life. I mean, I thought I knew. So panel discussions offer an opportunity where people can actually fire off the drugs, but for really to get a tone of the actual speakers, people been working in space. Today, we're an equity workshop. So the base of this conversation is going to be about equity. Why is it important? And sometimes, why isn't equity equitable? Just because you see a social equity program or diversity program, or that doesn't mean running it. So there's no one system that works for everybody. There's no one equity plan that works for everybody. Every demographic is different. Every region is different. The issues that we may face in the Southeast may not be the same issues that we face in the Pacific Northwest. We don't have to worry as much about wildfires as they may have in California. So take these gems to take some notes, find some action items like they tell you, and follow up. Make it a point to take something from this panel to take with, but don't just give it to somebody else. And give my name in a second. I'd like to introduce my guests. First, I have Antoine from Native Black Farms. We have Mr. Mike Udo, who has been our corrections sponsor on this tour. And over here, we have my esteemed colleague, Ms. Teresa Yarber, who has been leading the fight here in Georgia for 4 hours. So we're bringing up equity, and we've heard these conversations, especially post-pandemic, with a lot of entities being more intentional for their inclusion efforts. Can you share, we'll start with you, Teresa. Can you share some of your perspectives on the significance of social equity in the cannabis industry, and why is it crucial in this industry?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I've talked with a lot of people since promoting this event today. And I was really surprised at the number of people who said, I can't believe share equity in this industry, which was a big surprise to me, you know. But we need equity. Sometimes equality is not the right word. And in the cannabis industry, I think it is, because it's going to address knocking down the barriers that obstruct us from getting to positions that we want to. For instance, in Georgia, if you're a marijuana failure like myself, you can't get to the plant touching industry. You can get the best right, you know, and you can have an organization like mine that works toward that. But equity is important because it involves, it makes sure, it doesn't just involve, it makes sure that we share that industry with people who otherwise would not be able to.
Thank you. Mike, same question. Why is significant social equity, and why is it important that we have the cannabis industry?
So I'll answer 2 parts. So the first part is that, you know, of course, we're talking about industry that comes out of the war on drugs in some ways, right? And so a lot of issues that we have around inequities have been formed by the war on drugs in this country. So the reason we need the equitable DEI programs, all this kind of stuff in the first place, is directly related to this. So that's why I think it's really important that this industry and anybody in it understands that this industry needs to be set up equitably and paradigm. So that's the first part. The second part is we've seen that you don't necessarily have, Adrian's point earlier, equity is more around the licensing at this point in time than it's about business. But what I think it's really done, in my opinion, it's really great, is that it's allowed a lot of us that we in creating social equity, creating an equity industry, find each other really quickly, to raise our hand real quickly and find one another and be able to work together so that we can find more equitable ways to build our business. So, that's what I was.
And Mr. Waterton, I know you're from the South like myself, and the South, these work different. As your state, Alabama, emerging on the cusp of medical cannabis and industrial cannabis, why is social equity and why is the equitable conversation important?
The equitable conversation is very important because it's symbolization of true ownership. Creating a community where those that have been impacted to make decisions to better benefit their community. So I use myself as an example that I am the 40 states owner of my company. However, some other companies have reached out to the trying to make me an equitable social equity partner with a fraction percentage of equity in the business, that you don't have a voting right. You don't have any say in any of the business dealings of the company. With myself, to make sure we create true equity, those owners, those stakeholders need to be able to make certain decisions that they want to make so they can be able to impact the communities that they want to be able to impact and influence. And the way we create that true equity is having individuals from those communities that knows and knowledgeable of the needs and the impact from the wound drugs for those communities. So we can create a more equity path to the end if it's not fantastic, and be able to delegate certain contracts, certain duties, and certain responsibilities, and certain executive roles, and certain jobs, a whole nine that we need to be able to make a decision so that we get a better impact the community and of them.
Absolutely. That's great. I told you, it's gonna be a gems drop thing. So I know you work with gem show, but you got fires. Yeah. All right. I'm more of a court person myself. All right. So what are some of the key challenges that individuals from historically marginalized communities face when they're trying to enter the cannabis industry? And how can these be addressed? And when I let you start that since you posed the question.
I'll say information and resources. With me coming up and getting into the cannabis space in the industry, when I was really trying to reach out to folks to learn more about the space in the industry, nobody wanted to share that information with. So I had to create things and avenues for myself to be able to give myself that information, that knowledge, and that wisdom that I can be able to throw that back to my community. As well as making sure that
the last part is how can these challenges be addressed? Like things that prevented you, those barriers, how can they be addressed?
Those that have the resources, those that are allies, and those that wish to see great people to continue to elevate them, pour into them, help them out. Even myself, I'm very knowledgeable about but I don't know it all. I'm humble enough to say that. If I'm coming up short, you see somebody that you can be able to help me, or you can help out another individual, reach out and help them out, provide me with the resources. Most important, capital. Money is always the need. We live in a capitalist state, a country. So nothing moves unless the dollar moves.
Mike, I'll go to you for the follow-up.
Yeah, I would say that, I concur with everything Antoine said here, of course. And I think that to double down further, the way that we get the capital, the way we get the dollars, the resources, is by doing these kinds of things, right? Not just this specific type of event, but coming together, whether it's on, a group of people, a couple of people, but the more connected people we have. I think that the biggest challenge that I see is all the silos that happens. And this is something that's past the cannabis industry, right? This is something where we are stuck in a scarcity mindset, right? Because society is making it seem like everything's scarce. That we get stuck in silos, we forget what resources we do have access to. And that maybe it might not be like, hey, I call my rich uncle and I think we're going to start a business, but it might be 4 or 5 years later, if we go deeper, keep going further. That's to me a big way to come up with challenges. Now that said, of course, I just need more funding through government programs, technical programs. We can't count on that. We have to count on each other and be able to build a sustainable manner. That to me is a real common challenge.
And Teresa, as a male, as a fellow, that automatically marginalizes you more than myself as a person of color. What are some, how can some of these challenges that people like yourself face, how can some of these challenges be addressed and move forward?
Well, the first thing you have to do is let other people know who we are. You know, that I'm not just a leader in the cannabis industry, I'm a big leader as well. And we all know certain states it's more, but in Georgia, it's 3, 4, 5 person black people be arrested for white person. But having said that, it does come down to the girl with black face, which I'm into, by the way. But I think we just have to put ourselves out there and be strong and confident in who we are and follow our passions and goals. As we help others, we help ourselves. And that's one of the biggest things I have learned in this industry. It's a huge industry. There's plenty of money that we pay to, it doesn't have to be free, but we do have to pull together because we are a culture. And one of the things that I didn't realize would not be in the plant touching industry until we reestablished some of this legislation is found our own group to pursue my goals and to help other people and to unite. In 2020, I think it was 2022, during the height of the epidemic, we said we're going to put marijuana back in the conversation. We're going to bring people together right in the middle of it. And you sponsored that event at State Home Studios. And we had a no mandate, no mask mandate, we did no temperature checks.
I remember to that. It's just not much of a pandemic. Or like a next door party, and it's definitely good.
But what we did, we told everybody we want you to act just like marijuana. We don't have to be afraid and cover. We have to push doors. We have to create opportunities for ourselves. And we grew the marijuana movement all over here in Georgia. And now we follow our example. You go to a party, like their party, everybody's party is like somebody walking to the platter for brownies, edibles, people coming from Colorado, sampling, giving us samples of their weed. I think you just have to go out and create opportunities for yourself and work with people who are a little advanced, a little more advanced than what you are in this industry, and work with them. Work with them. I wanted to. That's one of my biggest goals is making sure that you find a place wherever you land in this industry, but creating opportunities.
And to compound on what she said, I'm a member of the Board of Medical Marijuana. I belong to several different organizations, and one here is with. I started out pretty normal, a different organization, to meet peers, rallies, to advocate, learn how to activate your advocacy. And for t-shirts that say "Your vibe, find your tribe." Apparently, my tribe is a little bit bigger because we're all here to live by it. This is the industry where you can look from the outside of that window and look in the room and tell what everybody does. There are some industries that can live. We're the most diverse industry. And so with that, that was my next question. I've heard of social equity in different states, and I heard someone mention not taking advantage of it as a social equity advocate. I personally met someone who went out to take some type of seminar in California. A person heard about the interest group, heard about the seminar, and talked about it at the dinner. Hey, who's the funding? We're looking for social equity partners. One person was like, I'm part of this. In a limousine. Limousines today. Seriously. This person let them know that they were in a state that was opening a social equity program. They partnered with this entity to one of the licenses. These people know they're going to fund everything. All we want you to pay attention. This person never signed, he can't pay for it. But this person later found out, like signing this. Yeah, she agreed to go on for 3 years, but after 3 years, they will buy her of the company. But they're going to buy her out with an income. Because if she had actually read it, it told her that person fees are gonna come down as an operator, as a stakeholder. So it's pretty much like a scam, no matter which way you go, you get it screwed. And after 5 years, if she did not come up with, that's $180,000 that they had given her, they told her that was, this is for you. No, let's see, now we're gonna want that interest. They're gonna own her business. She ended up in Oklahoma and completely scrapped everything. It was $1 million problem because she wanted a business pitch. So these people, they heard she won, they're gonna back it. But I tell her, I'd rather you lose that $1 million deal than lose $10 million later on.
Yeah.
That was $1 million less, and I promise you won't get it anytime soon. So out of these equity programs, does anyone know examples of equity programs that were efficient, that work, or even that gathered traction?
So I would say that, you know, I'm going to take from Cheryl Murray and say that, you know, it's still too early to judge a lot of these programs in their impact, right? It's kind of like day trades right now, half day trades, right? Everybody can look, oh, well, this big star is going to be, but everybody looks at the prospects, and we're kind of not sure, you know? And I think that it's similar when we look at social equity. Cannabis programs are different, right? It's still early in a lot of ways, even in states like California, it's still early. That said, there are states that have definitely done a lot more than others. And I think a lot of that goes also towards who's in the offices that's running. And a lot of those offices, like New York already, as an example, are made up of lots of people that are really good at the equitable industry, that also have a lot of the demands that are set up to fail in a lot of ways, and then have a lot at them because it's not going perfect. And my perspective when I see that kind of stuff is, well, if the forces that be are successful in getting them removed, who comes in instead? And we know that the people that come in next are not going to be dedicated to that industry. So what I would say is that, you know, I don't think there's one state that's got it right. California, certain grants. Maryland, just New Jersey just did $1,000 grants to 40 licensees. So that's enough money to actually stand up the first part of their business, not everything, but a good amount. Those things matter. New York, as I mentioned, you've got a lot of problems, but at the same time, you have a lot more licensees that have, you know, convictions or come from, you know, social equity, you know, status, whatever you call it. And in some of the other states, in Illinois, it's taking a lot longer to get them, you know. So I don't think there's any, hey, we can say if they're right. But I think if we stop with the whole just criticizing things and say, okay, what has gone right here versus there's a lot of examples of things that if we start pulling that in, we can put something together that does work. And it's a long way of saying, you know, we're around the circle. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And what he's saying, just in a nutshell, is these programs aren't old enough to have enough information to know whether it's working or not. Similar to when your doctor say, hey, doc, I'm getting this tri-spot in my arm. Well, we can try this set of it. Well, we get this for 6 weeks. So we have to give it time to see what works. And to really compound on what he said, instead, it's easy for us to go outside and look at what's not working. That's fine, but it is working. All right, let's take those small victories in this industry because they stated with some of the northern states, though that money is being allocated. No, it's not to get you a nice building. It's to help with the application process. Sometimes having someone to review that application, you may not have your $2,500, $4,000. So those micro funds are for, like I heard about the micro business. So, and from your experience, I'll start with you, Teresa. What are some of the best practices for promoting diversity and inclusion in the workforce?
Conversation, like what we're doing today, taking it across the country, people who really have their finger on the pulse of equity and what they're looking for in it need to make sure that they're carrying that message is out there. And we're going to carry that message from here. And all these, I would say there's a lot of people sitting here today that we're going to be hearing from in the future. I haven't with it. I do want to expand on the subject of equity. What I would like to see and what I'm working on language for is that we become a self-sustaining cannabis industry. We take care of our own. And that we take some of those taxes that are coming into the state from cannabis dollars and establish new programs that work and work within those communities that have been ravaged by drug war. And start there and talk to the people and say, what do you need? What do you need? And have the connections, the networking system with us to make sure we facilitate. But I think that's one of the important things that legislators overlook is, yeah, we're gonna, they say, oh, we should do the education. That's good. That's good. But they're gonna get money.
Yes.
So why not take those, some of those tax dollars and build a fund for equity and a system?
And to piggyback on the equity, so to piggyback on Christian, how I view the whole equity situation, in my opinion, is really like an urban legend. It's not really true, and how you construct it is, the legislature may have the best of pure intentions. However, these services is always going to find a loophole in the way around. So, for example, Alabama is a prime example. 25% of the license issued in Alabama is supposed to go to 51% minority owned and operated companies. You can dress that after license on paper. But once that license is received, they got another separation agreement that keeps in place that replaced that social equity applicant. And now they hold the license and they can get and choose to do what they want to do with them. So it really did benefit and help out those communities. So like I said, we have to have true ownership. We have to hold the true equity. So we need to be able to allocate our tax dollars on where it goes. As a business owner that's going to be generating millions of dollars, I got to give charitable donations. Now I can give back to nonprofit organizations in the community that I know that's doing certain things to get it up there, folks. Especially now we know we don't have research dollars that's going to also be on this program. They tend to look at the bigger universities, Alabama, Central University, Alabama, Auburn University, UAB. However, we have how many HBCUs in Alabama, such as Alabama University, that can get this project, also participate in research that comes out of the program. So it's being able to have true stakeholders like myself in the to be able to speak to that. We can't expect for our other partners that on paper to be able to speak to that, aspect, and also be able to have the familiarity to know the benefit and impact that would have. So it's important that we are social equity applicants in true positions of leadership that they have they can get make their own deciding factors.
This is a guy that gets
Yeah. And it's kind of actually directly into my next question, because I've known you for several years, and if you don't follow his work, please follow Antoine on LinkedIn, follow him on social media. I met him a few years ago, and I've been watching before their program in it. He's at the Capitol. He's at the stakeholder meeting. He's at the Commission Regulatory Commission meeting. You don't want to know what's on the menu because you want to come to dinner. You got to be in. Because if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. And then it's being served whether you're hungry or not. Right. So, Mr. Antoine, access to capital, and that's a big issue. It's often the biggest barrier to being social equity applicants. What strategy or resource do you have for even recommending for attempting to secure funds, investments, or even a hemp startup by marginalized individuals? So, like the people in this room, what are some points you would give them?
All right, my avenue was pretty much non-traditional. I happen to tell folks I thank the Lord for the position that He has placed me in to be able to make the positions and the decisions that I have made. Dealing with COVID in 2020, I was working with a pretty Fortune 500 company where I had a 401k and things like that. I was able to save money, put money to the side for certain things. So when I reached a certain point in my life, recognized I was working for it and beat me at the true asset that I really was, I started to figure out how can I be able to provide my skills and my talents to myself. And when that happened, I saw that I had this money and I didn't see no long term now with this company. I pretty much lost my time for 401k. I talked to my wife. I'm like, hey, I'm about to roll the dice. I'm about to roll the dice. I don't know where it's gonna land, but I feel like I gotta take that leap of faith to be able to get out there and do that. And since I made that risk, the Lord just has been putting me in strategic places where I've been able to continue to generate revenue and things like that. So the most important thing I would say, you gotta say, take a risk, make sure it's a calculated risk. A calculator is you're going to have to jump out and, you may not know if you land on your feet, but you're going to have to take that jump. Just make sure that's calculated. You may tend to land on something. But also, you also get involved in other programs, especially as a farmer. There are several grants out there for new farmers, especially as a black farmer. We are trying to get black farmers back into farming. So it's grants out there for that. As well as just raising capital and connecting with folks and trying to take money from different people. You got to know exactly what you're trying to do with that money when you go talk to these folks. If you ain't really got no plan on no map, like get these folks their money back, don't even talk to them, Because you're gonna get your feelings hurt when they come ask you exactly how you want to execute the plan and be able to bring their money back. So my unique position that I'm 100% funding myself until I'm in a position where I have all the leverage to be able to generate and make the money that I really need. Which it takes a lot of money to be able to get it done, but depending on like you're on the land, a huge effect if you already own the land, because you can be able to go to these farm banks and these farm credit unions to be able to get a lot of credit that you can't be able to fund, to be able to fund and to be able to get it, to be able to get your material, to be able to get information, to be able to get your well. It's a wealth of things that you need to do to be able to get everything rolling, but it takes the research and the preparation to be able to successfully execute.
Well, what he says is, I wish we could longer for this conversation because we brought up a lot of points. But I would like to say this as obtaining funding. I worked in the music industry for years, and people would all the time, you take my label, and I would tell people labels aren't for people you until they hear the catch. Somebody's gonna take you to the guy. It's the same in the cannabis industry. I get phone calls from vendors all the time. Who's working next to me? And a lot of times I will call vendors and I'll say, look, there's this particular person, they have their shit together. I think they are worth considering. So it's a word of mouth industry that will get you in front of people. And but you get in front of them when your works. You are known by your works.
It's actually the first small industry. That's a real thing about that is find you so many times. There's a lot of people in practice that at the end of the day, find out that you may not find out who really providing the money. There's a small subset at the top of a lot of deals. And
The money's there.
and money is there. The money is a little tight right now because in part, you have Biden putting out that rescheduling is going to occur. So you have people who are going to write a check, like, all right, let's see what happens. So you have some standoffishness there. And then you have a lot of people who jumped into cannabis early who have yet to see the return. So they're not making a ton of money. So there's mistakes made there. But at the end of the day, there are deals that are moving forward and are getting done. It really comes down to your business partner has to be a good match for what you want to do once again. If you don't want to do much, if you'd be happy with getting a license in case whatever, then somebody come in and run it, you just if you get your check a month check, you'll be happy as because you can live good off that. That's doable. But just realize that you're not in control in that situation. It's a sliding scale. I can get you an operator that will basically you'll be able to tell an investor, you will get your money back in such and such a time, and you will be done. You'll be paid. You'll get an interest rate, or you're not getting back. The more you need, the more money you need going in, the more of it you're going to give up in equity. It's just, you know these things already inherently. You know what I mean? So having an idea of what you want to do exactly yourself, having an exit strategy, what do you really want to do? Do you want to be out and done in 5 years? Do you want something that's going to net you X amount of dollars in the platform, or you can go and do something else in some other area or arena you totally love? All that's fine, but be honest with yourself. You know what I mean? And that'll help you be able to judge anything that comes your way in the future. But again, you're counting the drinks up first, you're ready to go. That's my idea of what you want to do for yourself, an idea of the next strategy you can do. And then you'll be much more prepared to deal with whatever comes your way. Because it all likely the deal that comes your way is going to be a little acute. You're gonna have to be able to pivot. That's a very critical word. You're gonna have to be able to pivot a little bit and be open. Don't be so high priority on your idea and what you want to do. And actually, a really good pivot idea comes and goes and you don't notice. And many of us who've been in it for years will tell you that we've had stuff come along and we should have paid a little more. You know, stuff should pay a lot less.
Flexibility is, so whatever you're doing, trust me, it's not made of adamantine. Whatever that is, that's what Wolverine called. It's unbreakable. You gotta go to the video. We may say we're gonna make a lift, but in order to get to point C, you may have to make a left or right, do a 180, climb over something, then to go back just to get right here. So, Mike, you want to come down?
Yeah, I got a few things I want to draw here. First off, a great book, in my opinion, by Jenny Hassan. His last name is Kassan. I believe the name of the book is Raise Money on Your Own Terms or Raise Capital on Your Own Terms, something along those lines. The first part of the book is great for like the mindset of raising money on your own terms and just understanding a lot of things that Adrian was talking about, Angela was talking about, Steve was talking about, kind of getting to understand that. The second part of the book, there's a lot of good technical information that, to be quite frank, I don't think necessarily have to learn all the details of, but it's good to just understand, oh, these are the different types of entities, these are the different types of fundraisers, different types of capital raises you can do, just to get an idea so that you're speaking a similar language of understanding of what it is you're entering into when it comes to fundraising. So that's one thing I want to draw there is this great book. Another thing I want to say is it's that adage of like, you know, when you have a 530 credit score, no one will give you a credit card, right? It's like, you know, you need, it's like, you know, it's always that adage of if you don't need the money, then they give the money towards you, right? You're just throwing the money at you. When you need the money, it's almost impossible to find the money. Well, it's not much different, honestly, when it comes to fundraising. When you're out there, the folks that I see that do the best on the capital raise trail, embody first off everything else that we've already heard here today, and really like don't even need the money. Like the money infusion will help them take their business to the next level. But at the end of the day, they could run a business right now without capital and they just won't grow, right? And if you're starting out, then you need to figure out how to show some kind of traction, right? Whatever that might be. It might not mean you have 1,000 customers if you're not opening up the doors yet. You need to show something. Now, what that could also be is partnering with other folks on your team that have demonstrated traction, right? Partnering with somebody from Colorado, an Oregon, California, that already has demonstrated the ability to take a company, raise capital, pay back capital, and keep moving forward. So, you know, if you don't fit those categories or those things aren't for you, that's where the pivoting part comes into play. Because as Stanley was talking about earlier, you can get in the industry today. And by doing that, you start positioning yourself, you start having conversations, you start joining organizations. Next thing you know, that idea that you had that you did the deck for that didn't really take off, next thing you know, you're talking to somebody that's like, oh, you know what? I kind of want to invest or acquire a business. Oh, well, you know, here's what something I've been working on. Oh, let's go ahead and partner. But if you were just on the mindset that you're going to be, I'm going to raise capital and it's so hard and you're just going and beating your head against the wall, I don't see too many people that succeed that way. The people that I've seen succeed do all these other kinds of, you know, really phalanx kind of ways. They know everybody in their sector. We might not all know who they are. They might not know everybody, but they know the folks that are in their street really well. People know them, and they're able to get that capital what they need at the end of the day. So just throwing that stuff out there.
Like Kevin said, First Citizens Bank is a huge participant in this space. I've been self-funded up this month, basically. Last 10 years, natural butter machine is great. There, but the bank took us on by knowing exactly who we are and giving us money because of who we are. But again, it's becoming a little bit easier, but more traditional than what we have.
What bank was that?
They have $150 compliance, which is very cheap compared to the rest of the country. His name's Eric. Eric Anderson is the vice president for accounting.
Gems, more gems. I hear that? There are banks. And to tie into Dr. Adams, Joe, Mike, Teresa's, Antoine's point, when you're doing this capital raise, valuation is important. If you don't know what valuation is, my glasses, these glasses are important to her. These glasses may be worth $70, but to me, these glasses may be worth $1 million because I'm about to sign a contract. Properly evaluating the value of your company, knowing it. I had a client I was working with. They had a cosmetic line, wellness products. They want to take it to the next level. So my question to them in our initial discovery call is, if I can, L'Oreal called you tomorrow, McDonald's has something called you tomorrow, what is your buyout number for your brand? They want the name, they want the logo, they want every picture, they want all the lights. This person told me at least $100 billion. I said, what? I said, $100 billion. I said, okay, let's go to the low. I said, on the low end, what do you think today, as a looking at spreadsheets, your earns and losses, what is your company worth? She said, I won't take less than $1 billion. And I told her, have a good day. You're never going to, you haven't built the value in the company. Well, her response was, well, this is my brand. I believe in it. I think it's worth $1 billion. But what does this capital investor think it's worth? Is it going to make any money?
If you don't watch it, watch it. You practice, not just listening and understanding. Right. My 9-year-old now is something. You gotta know them more.
And what he just said is very important. Shark Tank. I want a business pitch in 2019 in Las Vegas at MCBA. We still haven't put the grip on it because that's because you want a business pitch. Once you get ready to swing at that pitch, you realize, oh man, I need to work in pieces.
So go back to Mike's point. More than likely, a business that's looking for money is already established and running a go. They have a plan to say, I'm going to use this X to go market, hire sales team, and expand and blah, blah, blah. Not start from the very beginning, right? That's the tougher pitch. That's a tougher sell for somebody.
The best thing you can do is put yourself in the shoes of the investor. Right? Okay, what are they going to do? You don't want to know. Just like with your kid, you know, the kid comes up to you, oh, I need $200. For what? Right? What are you going to get money for? And when am I getting it back? Those are the two big ones.
You know, I think we have a lot of folks who are just trying to find their way. And I just want to offer being a stepping person. Small business administration has a lot of tools to get you started.
And it's all statement first as physical office.
Yes. You can go to SBA.com, business plans, pitches, all this stuff. Your tax free people.
And a regional people. And those offices. They had, okay, so Clayton State years ago. I reached out.
Where does the line get drawn up? Because I know that we were talking about cannabis and tech businesses. There's a lot of gray area. Like if you are openly a cannabis business, a lot of that's
business resources.
Yeah. Okay.
Business resources. Our salvation. They can provide business resources.
And that's so even though the ice cream may be in Delta 8 ice cream, they don't know that.
The templates are there.
You can go to ChatGPT to create the business.
Oh, yeah. That's right. So we want to be conscious of everybody's time, so we're going to get ready to wrap it up. But this last question, and I had one more, but this is the one that I think that directly pertains to me, and it's going to directly pertain to every person in this room. So to all of this is my final question for you. What does mentorship and network play in helping social equity applicants, predominantly minorities, disenfranchised, and misrepresented persons, as veterans, women, people with disabilities? What role does the mentorship and networking play in this industry? And do you have any personal experiences or examples of successful mentorship?
I'll kick that off. All right, mentorship is very critical, and network is very critical. You know, I started learning that your network is your network. And mentorship, like I said, is at a point I couldn't get valuable information from anybody, and I ended up connecting where I started going to the conference and connecting with the other CEOs that's running multi-million-dollar cultivation facilities, and was able to get them as my mentor when they recognized what it is that I'm trying to do here in Alabama before we even had the program. So counted to me the umbrella, and that's like the only thing that don't have a dollar value to it. You know, some folks just simply become your mentor because you're doing great things. Some folks do charge for mentorship, just be FYI. But it's a lot of individuals that simply just give you their time, or you can just simply call them and ask them for a question. So, well, I got a few mentors now at this point, in the way how mentorship and networking for me, as what I've been preparing for going for my license in Alabama before we even got the law. I knew it was certain things I was gonna need, like engineering plans of my building, such as security plans, such as SOPs, such as all these different things that I was able to connect with other individuals already in the space that already had this, already went for the license. And they're like, hell, I ain't doing nothing with it now. You know? And all I needed was a template. All I needed was you give me a template or a reference, I can recreate anything it is that I need. And once they gave me that information and that knowledge, I was able to build off of it, to compound on top of it, and to be able to structure and build my own. So with that mentorship and the networking on top of the mentorship, once your mentor they network, now you're able to touch their network. They're able to speak about you out here at certain events. Like, oh man, this young guy out in Alabama doing phenomenal things. If you don't know Antoine Morgan, you need to get to know him, or at least be able to support him and things like that. So the more work that you continue to do and grow, and as well as your mentorship and your relationship go closer, now you start to get more access to the resources that they currently have. So now everything is compounded, just continues to build, just going, just keep up from there. Then you get into a space of mentorship. Now it's just what is reach one, teach one. Yeah, now you reach back and you put somebody else. Now you got your information, the resources that you previously had, and you wish somebody would have gave it to you. But you have to go through the hard times, the hard challenge to be able to get it. Now you can be it. I'm at Alabama University, you know, talking to my engineering fraternity, and I find a young brother in the crowd that's interested in what it is that I got going on. He got a list of questions. I'm an open book. I give him all the information that he needs just to be able to give him some insights of guidance, just to be able to encourage him to keep going. And then once he do his research and everything, he come back, and it just continues to grow from there.
Ms. Teresa, will come down to you next. What role does network and mentorship play in this industry? And do you have an example of successful or even unsuccessful?
Well, let me get to network. I can't count and I'm sure y'all are familiar with the people that know the people that showed up at some of our events, parties, and we talked to some of these people prior. They gave it somehow to approach investors and people like that. And people, I can't get people that made money from our events. I mean, just for being at the right place and your shit together. They talk. But I think as far as mentorship, I have found out that you build a person's confidence first and foremost. That you become a person that they feel at first confident with you talking to people and asking the right questions. And a lot of times you don't know what you don't know to ask. So you try to fill in those spaces as well. And then you work with that person to help them really know where they want to go. Because like I said to some of y'all, I started out in a music industry, but booking landed in my lap, and I was very happy with it, and it worked well because my job helped me. But I think that it takes working with people and learning the financial situation, how they are under stress, and what their goals are. You want to just have this business and have an exit plan, or you're looking at scaling out. But building confidence in that person, surrounding them with the right network to make things happen.
Thank you so much for that. Mike, let you bring it up.
Absolutely. Before I do, you want to mention the party?
Yeah. I like to party. Come on now. We're having an after party, sharing it with a veteran's birthday bash, like Griffith. I know a lot of y'all know it. And it's at
10 ATL TEN. My Wi-Fi still not pulled up. Let's see if I can pull up my iPad. But it's in East Atlanta Village. Yes. Right off Edgewood, Black Shoals. East Atlanta Village, a quiet area that's known for events like this. the industry, like the culture cities. It's a really cool area, lots of graffiti.
Indoor,
It's called
tables
ATL.
outside.
It's ATL, and it's in East Atlanta Village. Known as
Yeah, yeah, umbrellas. Yeah.
So yeah, so quick question here. Who here has a mentor, business mentor? Okay, so the rest of you, to answer the question of what I think of the importance of mentors, get a mentor. And get mentors, all right? So and the disclaimer is the company that I have set up that's outside of the opposite we're gonna do is a coaching and mentorship company because I believe very strongly in the role of mentorship and coaching. I think that you cannot find a single successful person that, if they're being honest, doesn't have it's probably multiple mentors. All right. It doesn't matter what industry, what level. The most successful people at the highest levels have some of the most mentors, right? They really have very strong mentors. You cannot go wrong when you go out there, put yourself out there and find people that have gone before you, that know more than you. And the key, so one of my business mentors, what he says is find somebody that has what you want, that's living how you want to live, the space you want to live in, the business you want to live in, whatever it is, and become their mentee, And sometimes they have official mentorships. Sometimes, like Antoine said, it's just going to an event they're speaking at and shaking their hand until you do it enough times. Like, all right, what's up with you? But you'll actually find a lot of times, with cannabis, that first time, if you make a good impression, folks will get back, right? But sometimes, it takes times, to get out there and kind of bug somebody a little bit. For me, one of the things I do is I funnel folks to some of the free stuff that I do. Right, because I got to make sure somebody's serious before I'm going to invest my real time into an individual. So be willing to work with that mentor and then find mentors. I don't care what who you are, how successful you think you are, and everything. Find mentors because that's what makes a big difference. So that's what I would say about that.
Yeah. So thank you. We've got about 3 minutes. I know we gave a lot of information up here on this panel. But does anybody have any questions? So we got one.
I have a question.
Yes,
How y'all doing? My name is Erica J. I work with the Can of Shame Network and GSC and a whole bunch of different other organizations. But I want to know, what are we to do when we know that there's intentional blocking for trying to allow us into the industry, right? I feel it. I want to know what's the code, what's the punch move. Like, we're fighting on multiple fronts right now here in Georgia, and other locations as well. And we know definitively that they are working overtime to keep us out the industry. So what can we do in our overtime work to make sure we bust through, whether they allow us or not?
Push the right candidates and vote.
Okay.
You're not the foolish people. In a nascent market like this, where you have a tremendous amount of education that needs to go on, there's, folks understand something simple. If they're pro-cannabis and whoever's in the government right now is fronting like they're pro-cannabis or really causing trouble, whatever it is, they can be pro-cannabis. But people have to know about them. Somebody said earlier, about 500,000 incarcerated. What was that?
500 black brothers vote not to vote in the last election. That's a lot of power.
That's for real. That's what, if you really if you go back to the 2020 election, that's what it's like to flex at the ballot box. And what was the result of that? Oh, well, you can't get people in line with like crazy shit. That just shows you we scared the shit out of them. I think it's some crazy ass law and can't get enough water. So you have to keep that up. You have to keep driving with that and get that education about who is really in the way and get them out of the way.
So voter oppression is real.
Very much.
Very real. So even social places, it's going to be a challenge even mobilizing and organizing the people. Yeah, y'all didn't want to gerrymander problem right now. Alabama, we just settled ours. Yeah,
Check your polling
just
places, they may have changed.
Yeah.
Mine's the same.
Yeah, they want to dilute the power of the minority vote. So yeah, y'all gotta fight that too. That's another but.
And one more thing that I would add is I started doing this. I don't like using the term I a lot when I talk about cannabis. I like to say we, they, because it's inclusive. It's not just me. I'm one person. I'm a single man. This industry is so much bigger than me. I've been in the Capitol. I've been down in this room right now, and I've sat down with private meetings with elected officials, and they say, Stanley, we're here for the veterans. This is what we're going to do. We're about to go in the committee, and we've added language. So I'm gonna introduce that language, and we go in the committee. And I'm like, and then they say, okay, got one action item. We're going to strike down item 74 and move that from this bill, replace it with line something. Like, wait. That's we just sit there acting. And when they adjourn the full committee, you go to them, it's politics. It ain't personal.
That's politics.
Because they got to make this getting the best for them. If I have a bill that I want them to vote for, it'll only help my bill if I vote for their bill. She wants to sell alcohol at 6 a.m. He wants to sell alcohol at 2 a.m. He wants to sell alcohol in the school hall. I need to support my bills. That's what I'm gonna do. I vote for you, you vote for mine. And if none of us like hers, that's how those blockages come up. And what I tell people is take the same path that every bill, every law takes, the path of least resistance. If you know that they're blocking the door, go to the window. There's always a chink in every armor. There is a weakness, every strong point. Find it, exploit it. Don't take advantage of any negative way, use it to your advantage. Use what they try to block you with to open the door. It's not a simple process, and there are no solutions to complex problems. Our legislators, there are better. Our legislative process starts in January. Starts first week of January. It's kicked off by the Wild Hog Supper. That is a dinner where they cut a big old hog. I don't eat meat, but they have a big hog for all the legislators. And people are, I ain't going to that. That's the best place to go because that is the last time their tire is going to be loose before the legislative session opens. That is your time to go, hey, Mr. Johnson, I live in your district. So listen, there's going to be a bill coming about this and that. If they say, well, I don't know if it's me, I don't know this. Well, would you like the opportunity for me to come and educate you and your staff on it?
So here, let me put some here. So first off, 100% getting engaged in ways you don't even think are going to matter. Flipping the vote, right? Angela Dawson in Minnesota's Great Rise, they helped to push the cannabis legislation through. Before they did that, the Great Rise actually helped put the House in the state in the first place in order to make it happen at all. So that's all great. And something else I want to add to that, though, is the more that folks can work together, the more that folks get on the same page. There are all the different advocacy groups, right? One of the biggest issues, and so Adrian and I have been working in New York, because Adrian was like, hey, you know what? This is going to be like a noisy bar where all these great conversations are happening, but nobody can understand what the hell's going on, right? The earlier that you can organize other advocacy groups and get aside your differences, get the same damn room, get on the same Zooms, get on the same whatever it is, hash stuff out. Don't worry about ego. You have to put the egos aside. Put the egos aside, work together, and then that way you create a more concerted effort and your voice can be better. But here's the other part too, though. You can't just stay in the silo of cannabis. One of the big things, this was actually a state representative that gave remarks he did a Q&A with us in Chicago to kick off this board. What he said was the biggest issue that cannabis faces when they come and lobby down with us here is that I'm pro-cannabis, I'm pro-equity in cannabis. The problem is there's also all these other interest groups that are outside of cannabis that still want to weigh in on how cannabis goes. And so what we need to do is we need to reach across and communicating, combining efforts with non-cannabis groups, and also enlisting the advocacy and the support and the education of our communities, our family, our friends, our colleagues, people that aren't in cannabis, that don't care about equity in cannabis, right? It's something they don't care. It's out of sight, out of mind. That's not what they worry about all day long, right? So, but if they know that that's something that we're doing matters to us and why, it makes it a lot easier for them to support that. Now, when they're going to the PTA meeting and it comes up as a conversation, they might be inclined to say, hey, you know what? Actually, my cousin does so on and so forth. It's not so bad. I can introduce them. You know, whatever it may be. We have to get outside the style of cannabis and just working with cannabis activists. We have to work outside of just our own activist group and work together. that's my 2 cents on that too. So everything, absolutely, you guys said, 100% agree with, but I want to add to that, this other piece that I feel like gets missed a lot of times when we're fighting so hard.
You know, I do less with the cannabis industry than I do with the outside industry. I almost do nothing with the cannabis industry. No, I mean, I do with y'all, right? Tell you, that's not who I'm talking to. I'm not talking to anyone else. I'm going to go to game meetings and everything else.
Well, I'd like to say, to add to Erica's point, question, and I agree with everything that's been said here. But what we as Georgians do is for the groups to get together. We may not agree with everything each other does or the way we do it, but we have a great working relationship. But at the same time, we need to develop, I believe it's most important that we agree on a mission statement here if we don't agree on anything else. If we come together as Georgians, Georgia activists, whatever, and we say, this is what we want in Georgia. And one final thing, when we go up to that state house with what we want, those legislators are good about sending you out the door, working toward what they want. So you've got to make sure that you go in there full of confidence, spit and vinegar, and you're like, no, that's not where I'm headed. Yeah, this is what I want. And stick to your guns on stuff, because they will manipulate you into doing their work. That's not easy.
I have a follow-up. Anybody else has a question?
Oh,
Okay.
follow up.
Okay. Is it more not equitable, but does it make more sense in y'all's opinion? I guess I'm posting it to the room to go the political route, or should we be knocking down the doors of private business and saying, our community is this much amount of money in your business. You gonna come off with some of that money to some of our organizations, or we're gonna put together some type of, movement against your business. I'm just, what do y'all think is more advantageous?
I would say go in with an olive branch. Fear.
Or carrot and stick.
Yeah, because if I'm Walmart, I relatively work for Walmart at the corporate level. That's just like Walmart saying, okay, so what? You buy all your tissue, your grocery, your tires here. That makes you entitled for me to support you? No. And organizations and brands are in alignment, because you would have a harder time trying to isolate a appeal, trying to put, well, look, we got all these bus pay out. At least you can give us some free.
Yeah, some.
You can send your doctor for years. Just because you've been seeing him for years, don't mean he's gonna start seeing you free. Don't work like that.
No, he won't see you for free, but he will give you cannabis.
There are companies. Yeah. Yeah.
You see these companies right here.
Yeah.
There's a store here in Georgia. If I do it, and y'all know you do events, it's like pulling teeth.
It's like pulling teeth.
Yeah. So you got all these retail shops, and Joe's great about helping out. So this is not about him. But when you go to these retailers, and I just told one recently, and I'm not gonna call his name, but he said, "What you got going on next year?" I said, "Protecting your business." Working out here every day with your business, and you don't give us a damn dime. So support these businesses and support us.
Yeah. Just say that, it's like, it'd be nice to go to these companies and be able to say, hey, so therefore, but the reality is that, the more care is going to get you further, because you want to find those that are aligned. Here's what I would say this. Just my own experience doing these types of things, right? Is that, when I first started doing, everybody said, oh, you got to go to Fresco and you got to go to GTI and all the big guys, we're supporting them. And I said, no, I'm not going to mess with that at all. All right. I did not. I mean, I had conversations with everybody, but all conversations, I wasn't pitching anything. I was just in interest in where they were at. And honestly, every single time I said, I don't want to work, right? And I looked down and I see all my friends that did that, went that route. And, no offense to my friends, because I'm even everything they were doing. I feel it's unfortunate that a lot of it done has been cut and just completely removed. It doesn't exist anymore. It's sustainable because they went and found partners they had full teeth from. They went and found part bludgeon over and be like, hey, you do this, we deserve all it. And admit that money wasn't there anymore, it just wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And not only people that helped the deals go through got paid off too. So it wasn't even like they had anybody to go to anymore. What we did this tour, we folks that this was pulling teeth. Simply, hey, what are we doing? Doing this? Okay, cool. Let's figure out how to make this happen, right? It was definitely less money than if we went otherwise, but the impact and the ability to have control over our own programming, the ability to make sure it don't happen again and again, me, it was way more practice.
Yeah.
So that's my two steps on how we go and get businesses off. Finally, we're already like, you know what? Yeah, I might not 100% agree with you, but I believe we can know that I'm going to do this. And the other thing too, you said, it's like they might not always have money, right? But they might have your connections.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go in with this stick, it's like, fuck this guy. I don't want to do this guy. You go in and you're like, hey, how can we work together? You know what? I don't have money for you, your quarterly budget. I get your budget ready, but I'm going to introduce you to this person, and that person opens up 10 doors.
Yeah.
So anyway, just throwing that out there.
It's really good.
Yeah, don't take this to because.
No.
I'll give you. I was about that. I was and I would bring. I took that because there are legislators who would talk to you that be like, hey, what's that you want to propose for horse racing? Okay. Have you made a donation campaign? Oh, you have? Why don't you start there? They're serious. You have companies that can take $2,500 and give it to 50 different legislators for me. He may be a 2 people acres, so you know we're close to this. You look, I got like horses. So that's going to be our panel today. I really hope that everyone got some information that you can use. I didn't hear any today, and I love it because we don't have time. We're behind, so we don't have time to sell you a pipe dream. I would rather give you actionable items, give you some knowledge from the stakeholder like Joe. You're in here, so the information is going to be. It's going to be epic. I want to send a special thank you to Mike Caputo and the Minority Cannabis Business Association. Hardworking individuals like himself. These conversations wouldn't be had. It takes entities from outside places to come in and bring that conversation because they're not just bringing anecdotal evidence. They're bringing evidence that can be looked at, reviewed, and how to be improved. I want to give a special thank you to Mr. Joe Salon and the Georgia staple in Georgia. He continues to be a future when it comes to him. I was at a great game. I look up, I see something like Brave Stadium. I only listen to sports. So I only listen to 1990 game. Guess who talked about 1990 game? Joe Shalom. So if you guys have the opportunity to really come in and connect with great business, I want to thank you to all of the speakers who provided some amazing insight. We couldn't do it without people like yourself. And not least, Brazil. Y'all can't come here right now. It's fall festival, but you chose to come here and make an investment in your business. And I want to say thank you again. My name is Stanley Atkins. Second, I am the National Director of Farming and Technology with Minorities for Medical Marijuana. I'm also known as the Cannabis. And how about that?
Really moderating an awesome panel, I'd say. But also the roundtable you did earlier was great. Thank you. And how about again our roundtable facilitators? It's been a pleasure to collaborate with you, with Teresa. Is that Joe over there? There he is. There he is. Right on, man. Joe Mack is cool as hell over here working on these two trucks. So thank you. Angelita. Angelita's been a big part of this. And this is the point, right? So to close things out, equity workshop. This is stop number 9 out of 10. This is crazy. We got one more stop for this. We will be back. I don't know exactly when. I'm thinking probably May-ish is when we'll be back. We're gonna do a tour out west, most likely in March. We'll do the West Coast and the Southwest. People are always, of course, welcome to come out, expand your network, sit down in community with folks in other states and places. And then we'll likely be out here do this kind of similar tour in May or June. And then we're looking at doing something bigger, likely probably September of next year. Still haven't fully identified the spot. Hopefully people will be able to join us there to keep this ecosystem. The main thing I want to say right now is keep plugging in. So you'll get the emails, follow-up emails from me. If there's anything that you want to share, if there was something, maybe listen, if somebody at Roundtable had something they want to share, just feel free to send them over my way. I'll make sure you get to everybody and follow up with folks, right? But the main thing is plugging in and keep plugging away. So with that said, man, I think that's everything I got to announce. We have the after party at 10 MTL, 8 o'clock. Until when? Exactly. Start today. So with that said, David, everybody have a wonderful day, a wonderful everything, and hopefully we'll be in touch with each other. How about everybody say weed? Yes, weed.
Hey, I want to say,
Come on.